All right, so Gary is going to give us his first impressions of Cotton Fantasy. We did receive a review copy of the game. The game does not come out until the 20th of this month. So Gary's been playing it early. He's been messing around with it. He's going to tell us what he thinks of the game. So what kind of game is it?
So
First off, Gary, what is it? What is it?
it is a cute 'em up, which means it's basically a cutesy shoot 'em up. It is a horizontal shooter and has a little bit of, I mean, so far I've only played one level out of like the 7 or 8 levels that it for the most part it's horizontal. Um, it has one level where you kind of like Space Harrier, where you're in the middle, kind of float all over the screen, and then you go forward. For the most part, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I thought there might be some issues with the game, but I really haven't. I've come across maybe a few frame drops, dips when it gets really intense, and I figured there'd be more of that because it gets really kind of crazy because it's a bullet hell and you have a lot going on at the screen at one time. I mean, it gets confusing sometimes when you're, depending on who you pick and if you're charging up the shot and you unleash all that and all the different, like there's bells I believe you collect for like a leveling up type stuff, and then there's crystals so you can increase your time, and basically that's how the game works. You have a time limit, and when you get hit, it takes away from your time, and that's kind of how you die. So for the most part, I've never really played a cotton game before. I do like shooters. Shmups are great. They're not like it's not a genre that I own really too many shooters, because shooters these days are super expensive. But for the most part, it checks all the boxes for me. It looks absolutely brilliant on the OLED. That's what it does really well, for at least for me. It's just nice and vibrant, and it's a beautiful game. It's very short, because I almost beat it in one playthrough when I first downloaded the code. I think it's about you can get it beat in around 45 minutes, maybe an hour. So it is short, but there is, it makes up with, like 6 playable characters. I hear there's a 7th unlockable character. I heard there might be an 8th, like a DLC type character. I'm not sure exactly. We're not sure at this point how we're actually going to get that extra level in that character. But there's a lot there. There's a few modes, and I haven't gotten really, like I said, I only got maybe 7 or 8 levels I played or something like that. And for the most part, it's fun. It's quite easy on like normal. Um, it's what you would expect from a cute 'em up. It's good. It's solid fun. I'm not exactly sure if it has multiplayer. I'm not sure if you could play that 2 players or not. But for the most part, it's good. It's really solid. I like the look of it. I think it runs rather smoothly. Like I said, there's a few dips when you get into like just too much on the screen at once, but for the most part, it runs really solid. I think it's not really going to bug anybody, especially if you're not you know too worried about that thing. But yeah, I think it's something that's going to be like a highly recommended if you like shooters and you definitely like cute 'em ups, and you're looking to fill that shmup void. I think it's a great game, and I believe you can get it physically for like $30, and then do you know what the price of it is that digitally, Tony?
I'm looking it up right now. Psychic Mike walked in the room, so he's making it into this first impressions video. But let me see here. Cotton. So, would you recommend this, Gary?
As it stands right now, yeah, I think it's there. It's quality there. I mean, people always say like game length, whether it's worth it game length wise. I don't think that's ever been an issue for me. Because if a game's really solid, and even if it only lasted a half hour, I would definitely recommend it. It would be a hard recommendation at like a full price at like $60. It's kind of like, well, if all you were getting was the game at like $60, but I believe it is like 30 physically, and I'm sure it's cheaper digitally. I definitely could recommend it because if you're a shooter fan, you're kind of, you've gone over this for like years and years on end. You buy a game and it's usually not a game that you get. Shooters are games that are, on average last from like an hour to 2 hours. You don't get a lot of content from it. But I won't rate a game on just how much content you can get out of it, because everybody, to each their own. People don't mind that. They enjoy shooters, so they're gonna buy it. But definitely, I think it's really good so far. That the hour that I have outplayed in it was fantastic. I was expecting, like I said, like slowdowns, because I knew going in, watching some of the trailers and some of the stuff, that there were, there's a lot of stuff that's on the screen at once. But it runs really good. It runs really good, and if you're like I said, a fan of shoot 'em ups, then definitely, it's definitely gonna be a recommendation when I go to do my review, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. What I've played so far.
Yeah, I'm not getting a price. PlayStation Network, it has no price, but here on the Switch it says it's $39.99.
So that's going to be. I mean, I can't imagine that the I can't imagine that that's going to be probably 40 for it retail. I can't imagine that's the price of it digitally. If that is the price of yeah, if that's the price of that digitally, for the price point, it's hard to swallow $40 for any shooter. Because it's the kind of game that should be $15, $20 digitally. $30 is fine for it physically, because I understand what they have to go through to get these manufactured and produced and all that good stuff. But it's a good game, right? If you can swallow the fact that it might, you might only get an hour, and then you've beaten it, and then you got about 7 characters to play with, and there's a few few difficulty modes in it. I think it's worth it for any shooter fan. It's going to be hard to recommend it to somebody who might not be okay with those things. But it's quality.
The digital version is $40. Excuse me. The physical version is $45.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest. That's the biggest pill you're going to have to swallow on it.
The collector's edition is $115.
Now, that's not still available on limited run, is it? It was a limited run one we're showing right now, isn't it?
No, it's not limited run. It's the other one. What's it?
It's not.
This is on
strictly limited. Oh, I know there's so many companies nowadays.
Yeah, this is Games Rocket. So
okay,
I think they do have a strictly limited though, because I know you can pre-order it through Amazon too.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to have to be a fan of the series. I mean, this is going to be a no-brainer for a lot of people, especially the fact that the the TurboGrafx game is about, like, I think standalone for the was it Super CD or the Turbo Duo, whatever the hell they call that thing. I believe that's
quick.
Yeah.
Son wants to know if it runs at 30 or 60 FPS.
That'll have to check it. I believe it runs at. It's hard to tell. I believe it runs at 30 on the Switch. It probably runs at 60 on like, if it's available. I believe this is available for like PlayStation, right? PlayStation 4 or yeah. PlayStation 4 or 5. I would assume that it probably runs better on those. To me, I can't tell when I play a game. Like I can, but I don't play enough stuff in it to instantly know after an hour of gameplay. I do think it runs at 30 though. That I'm gonna have to check on.
We're going to need you to get a stopwatch. We got to do this thoroughly. But so first impressions, you thought it was pretty good. You liked it. You're looking forward to playing more of the game. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
It's like I said, it's going to be a big pill to swallow for people to pay that price tag on it. I totally think it's a game that you need to play, but to pay that kind of that money for something that's going to give you an hour a few hours of content. Depends how you play your shooters, but yeah, that's the big one. There is the price point.
Well, hopefully by Monday you'll have a full review, Gary, and maybe we'll get a little bit more on the Saturday show. But that was Gary's first impressions of Cotton Fantasy, coming the 20th